Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ryam, all you tabletops and bottoms. I hope you're all having a very good evening.
He
This
went
is your
for it.
DM. I did. We had literally just talked about that, and I decided, fuck it, we're going to give it a shot. And it actually didn't sound, it wasn't too hard. Might have to workshop that a bit. But welcome back to Ryam, everyone. This is your Dungeon Master, Scoot, as I wait with my gaffers here that are all... Kate is smiling, which makes me immediately suspicious. And
Good.
the shoe hasn't dropped yet.
I see I'm conditioning you in response to the way you've conditioned all of us.
Yeah, no, it goes full circle. And in this session, you'll be, have a casual fountain or a door, maybe, and we'll see what happens with that. Or you can argue about a chest for 20 minutes. Yeah. But welcome to Ryam, everyone. This week, we're back with everyone, and as our tradition, we will be going round and round with our question, and I tried, folks, to have a nice question, because I was blanking a little bit today, but then the gaffers decided to go off in some different directions, so much like an exacerbated parent, I said, fuck it, that's what we're going to do. So, gaffers, what is your character's ideal date? Date being whatever you interpret that to be. Take it away.
I can go first. Hello, I'm Robert. And there once was a wizard named Nikki. Towards books, her fingers were sticky. She fucked a rock high and has bright glowing eyes, and her magic is quite old and tricky. And Nikki's favorite date, her preferred date, a nice night on the town is always fun, but she's really got to go for the absolute classic, ritual cast and chill.
I think I know what your gimmick is, gang, but let's see if I'm right.
I guess I could go next. Hi, my name's Randall. There once was a kinku named Kiki, whose love of explosions was freaky. She'd make things go boom when she entered a room, but otherwise she was quite sneaky. I think the only kind of date that Kiki would be good for Kiki is a date she didn't know was a date. Like if someone was like, we should hang out, let's go to a museum or something like... Something that's sort of like intellectual, but also maybe interactive like that. And then she would have a nice time and shake their hand and say thank you. Woe be unto them who has romantic aspirations for Kiki, because it just doesn't register for her. But if it was just like a friend date or something, she'd be down with something like, here in DC, there's the National Building Museum or something like that. Stuff like that would really, or Air and Space Museum, that stuff would really thrill her.
Question, did that gnome she met in the bar who helped her build like that big towering thing of glasses, was that a date? Could that have been a date that she didn't pick up on? Was he flirting?
I think it would be a pre-date because they just met each other, and it's not like they were like, oh, let's break off from these losers and go somewhere else and chat or be alone. Then it could evolve.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, I can go next. I've already started. I'm Kate. Hello. A half kitsune tiefling named Allie, who liked to run fast and not dally, was as good in a fight as she was in the night and never let down in the finale. And my immediate instinctive response when Scoot asked the question of what is your character's favorite date was, well, I'd have to say April 25th, because it's not too hot and it's not too cold, and all you need is a light jacket. Allie doesn't have a favorite date. Allie, it's like asking what's your favorite book.
Oh, the Stitch meme's never going away. Alright, I'll go last. I'm Deb. There once was a champ of friendship named Tessa whose sword cuts quite deep. She's strong and she's warm, and she bakes up a storm so much that it puts you to sleep. And my immediate response to if Tessa were asked what her favorite date was obviously the Medjool date, because it has this nice soft consistency and it's very sweet and very sticky, and it's just really a great fruit.
But she can incorporate it in baking too.
Yes, you can.
Thank you, gaffers. That was
Enlightening?
Enlightening. And I'm, I admire the effort you folks put into that.
Randall, before we
Yes.
get started, would
Yes.
you like to present Scoot with his solstice present?
Oh, before we do our own? Oh,
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Do that.
That is actually good timing that Kate suggested. So
Now I am genuinely terrified.
we decided.
This is not you can invoke it tonight if you want to, but this is not like we're not saying we're offering this to you specifically tonight. It is to be used at your leisure.
So we thought, what would Scoot want more than anything but a coupon for Scoot that entitles you to one pun-free game session. So you could present this it's not valid with other offers. But if you want to present this at the beginning, I suppose you could do it halfway through a session if you've just had enough. And said, I'm invoking this from now on. But it's only good for one.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Gaffers. I will treasure this. And I'll have to save it for when I really, really need it.
In case of emergency.
Ironically enough, as we said last week, the Gaffers are going to give each other's gifts, but since Solstice is coming up, as is tradition in my other games, I, the DM, will be gifting you folks, the players, a very easy in-game gift. So this week, Gaffers, you have a choice as a gift from the DM. You can take one of two presents. That is your choice. I can award you an additional 3 levels of a class that's not your primary class, or you can have a roll from the Big Daddy Bag. For the players, for the audience, this is something you folks don't see. It's kind of off screen, but in the current games I'm running, we have a sort of after session thing we do where we like to give kudos to people that have done very well or kind of been a very supportive role in the game. And for people that have just done fucking spectacularly, we have what has been named the Big Daddy Bag.
Big Daddy Bag.
So, Gaffers, you have a choice, but you must decide now which you would like to take.
You said 3 levels.
3 levels of a non-primary class or 1 pull from the Big Daddy Bag.
Oh my god, if I go fighter and get an action surge with haste... I don't know if we can turn that down.
Do we all have to agree, or we each just pick
choose individually?
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, what are the options for the Big Daddy Bag? Are they always consistent?
They are always consistent. So it is, you basically, what we do, folks, just for background, is we roll a d4, and you can choose from one of the following things. A wish, with Monkey Paw active, meaning like, the more game-breaking you make it, the more it might break you. A free feat, as long as you meet the prerequisites. A boost to your stats, or a high-level favor from the DM. To give you an example, Tessa got her Wombo combo powers as a high-level favor from the DM.
Mm-hmm. I've cashed in a few of those for some nonsense.
Can the 3 levels I take be in the Paragon class that I designed that we talked about?
Yes.
Then I'm taking 3 levels.
Okay.
If I took levels from the levels that I got from the Rogue, you could be in that class.
Say that again, Rob?
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't very...
Yeah. That call foul.
We got a couple of non-primary levels from the Rogue.
Yep, you can continue.
Can I take levels there? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Can it be split?
Oh,
Does it have to be 3 in just 1? Can I do 2 and then 1?
Sure. You just can't.
Because I'm thinking like 2 in maybe fighter and then 1 in the Paragon class that I designed.
Sure.
So I keep kind of going up.
Yep, you can do that.
So you're saying... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm mumbling to myself, sorry.
Okay, so as long as it's in case of Kiki, as long as she doesn't take it in Tinkerer, but she does have levels in Scholar. Does that mean it has to be something an addition, or could she?
You could put it in Scholar, or you could pick up a whole other class. You'd be 3 levels in though, or however many you'd want. You don't have to decide those levels now, and obviously they won't be in effect right now. You folks don't have this ready to go, but for the next time we play.
Yeah, 3 levels, please. That's just
3 levels.
Super choice.
I can't turn that down.
All right.
I
rolled the
very
D4,
generous.
and that's what came up. So, congratulations.
Wait to hit 6 times in 1 round.
Yep.
Yeah, getting to finish off the Paragon class that I designed for Nikki is extremely enticing.
Okay. Everyone's very excited, and that's good.
Cool.
Okay. So last week, Gaffers, you had yourself a good time, but you had new visitors come from a place that none of you had heard of. A small fleet of airships had arrived from a place called Ethos. And you were met by two folks, one person introducing himself as Captain Mansa, and he was with a woman you have not met yet, as we kind of ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So now, Nikki and Kiki, you have arrived as you kind of come through the your methods of travel. I feel like you have a teleportation to a circle or something to the temple at this point from Nikki's estate, unless I'm wrong.
I don't believe we've actually had quite long enough for me to inscribe a circle, because it takes a year of casting it daily.
Mm-hmm.
Kiki will use a trebuchet and her boots of flight to get there.
Yeah, yes, she will.
Yeet her there a little bit,
No.
like to get the momentum, and then she'll
Slightly
engage.
faster. Yep.
Yes.
So you folks are, like, Kiki, you and Nikki arrive in time to see Tessa and Allie giving these two folks tours of kind of the general grounds and talking with them very casually, as the captain has basically said Ethos is interested in joining the Conclave and supporting Project Shear, and to show their intention, they plan on giving some of the airships to Project Shear as a show of material support. Now, looking at these things, they are not quite... actually, Nikki, you would probably know this. So you've seen the two flying ships that the Dragon Admiral possesses.
Mm-hmm.
These are not as sleek and powerful looking as those, but they are still jumps and leaps ahead of the other airships that you have seen. A lot of them are sort of like flying skyboats with magic or dirigibles. These things look like they could fight and be up there for a long time. Like, they're just they're floating and hovering, which other ships would have a problem with. They usually need to land in water or kind of be moving.
Okay. I'll point this out to the rest of the party, kind of the unique design of these ships.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you've never seen before is the carrier, the functional, almost battleship-sized carrier that's sitting there that has some of this, these smaller ships, smaller sloops and dinghies kind of buzzing around them. Mm-hmm. But as you give the tour, Tessa, the other thing, Allie, make a perception check. Actually, you and Tessa make a perception check.
Okay. Starting with a 13 tonight.
All right, lucky 13. Allie's bullshit roll is 35. Okay. You're moving and talking, and they're being very, diplomatic and political, but every now and again, you watch the two of them shoot looks at each other. But it's very similar, and you've seen these looks before, and you and Eben have fired them at each other. These two are definitely siblings. And they're being professional, but one will kind of look at the other and you'll get a shut the fuck up look from the other one very quickly. And
I'm going to kick you under the table. If it weren't visible, then I'd be kicking you under the table.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. And the woman introduces herself as Lady Zool. And they tell you
Zool!
Zool. They basically represent what they refer to as the unions. It would appear that Mazda represents the sort of shipping union, and she represents a lot of the kind of more ground-based industries from Ethos. Yeah, and then Kiki, and then you see your bird friend arrive. You see Nikki arrive, and they're getting ready to greet them, and then a herd of geckos comes just streaming towards Tessa.
I imagine that, Nikki's hand is reaching out slowly to go for the handshake offer, and then just geckos.
Yeah, they sort of do that get down, Miss President, as they just tackle you to the ground, and Phil and all Tic Tac and Toe take up defensive positions.
Wait, they can try to tackle me.
No, they tackle Nikki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, you're fine.
You're fine. Nikki is not.
I know you're fine.
Yeah, but they're get down, is Barry and Phil knock you to the ground.
No, guys, it's okay. They're friends.
There's
cool.
a long pause and a quiet, what? from under the pile of geckos.
I imagine it's partly muffled.
Guys, love the enthusiasm.
Oh.
Love it.
And
But you can get off Nikki now.
Tic Tac and Toe look at each other and they're like, "Oh, okay, bye." And they just sort of wave at the people and leave. And then Barry's like trying to help Nikki up, like, "Oh, we're sorry."
Don't let anything dull your sparkle.
Tessa's like,
Thank you, Barry.
Tessa's like, you're at an 11. I need you at a 2.
At this point,
Maybe
the
a 3.
captain is losing his shit laughing, that kind of deep belly laugh. And
As I get up, I'm just going to like, oh, thank you to the geckos.
And Lady Zool's just like, that deep inhale of like, they're so adorable. Like, what are these? What are these beings? And they're just sort of looking at you for an explanation.
Can I pick up on them being pleased about this?
It is
There are
clearly
geckos.
visible. Like,
Okay.
He's dying. The guy is dying laughing, Captain Pasta. And the woman is just like, it looks like when they do something cute and Tessa sees it and she's like, oh my god, they're so adorable. And she's trying to stay stately, but like, it's the geckos. There's not a whole lot you can do.
You can't be stately about them.
It's okay. You can let it out. We all do it.
And she sort of very
Non-knowingly.
unetiquetely like squeeze for a second. She's like, okay, no, it's fine.
Yeah, they get to you
They
right
do.
here.
As soon as she collects herself, Kiki casts a minor illusion of the geckos doing tackling Nikki just to make her twitch a little bit. Like much like a YouTube video or something, every so often Kiki's just gonna pull that one out.
Save that one illusion thing.
That's right.
And they wait for introductions for these 2 new people that have approached you. They don't know who you two are.
Right. This is Lady Doxborn, and this is Kiki Cleverclaws.
Oh.
Hi.
Is Cleverclaws a title, or is that your name?
Yes.
They both just sort of smile at each other, but they kind of look at Tess and Allie for some sort of like, is this...
No, she's
okay.
correct.
Okay.
That was the correct response.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Lady
Kiki
Zool,
nods like this is self-evident. Like it's self-evident. Like yeah.
Yeah, so Lady Zool and Captain Moza kind of look you up and down, and Captain Mundus goes, Miss Engineer Tinker? He's like looking for a title that you want to be called, or like what is appropriate for you.
For Kiki?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, is it
Tinkerer.
just Tinker? I see you have many tools in your belt.
Oh yes. Kiki starts pulling out wires, half-finished lip on. Like she
I
just
have an
starts.
adjustable wrench, a pipe wrench.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
pops up to his hair and pulls out a couple of very interesting looking spanners that you have yet to run into. And he goes, would you like a tour of one of the ships? Perhaps
Kiki's eyes get very big.
perhaps the carrier, he says, pointing up to this like massive floating just boat in the air.
Kiki's eye gets that like twitch when she's excited, like in a good way, and she forgets she can vocalize, and she just like nods very rapidly.
I imagine that like
sugar.
Nikki's pretty tuned into like local changes in temperature, thanks to Elzoff. And I imagine that the air like heats up a couple of degrees as Kiki just starts to vibrate
Violently.
Yeah.
With your leave,
Yes, please.
champion, Ali.
Oh.
He doesn't quite understand what your like director. He doesn't know what your title would be technically. So I don't think you've given him one.
Who, Allie?
Yeah. He knows Tessa is champion, but he knows like you're the leader of Sheer, but he doesn't know if there's a title with that or you're just Ali.
Really,
Khan.
just Allie is fine.
This way, and he takes Kiki back to the small boat, and as they lift off seamlessly, Kiki, and you begin heading towards the bigger carrier.
We ever
Kiki
get to see
already-
Kiki again, guys?
Kiki's
remains
already
to be
got her
seen.
little notebook out, and she's already like sketching things. And...
Goodbye.
Oh my god! These pirates have stolen our Kenku friend!
Stolen.
I don't know if you can
It's
kidnap if
willing.
you go that willingly.
Yeah.
Goodbye, my friends. My new boat needs me.
That's right. I will miss you all.
Kiki with like a little mechanical eye patch, like Mad Eye Moody, with like some
She doesn't
Tinker's
need it.
Dream eyeball.
Does not need it. So Lady Zool just kind of shakes her head at her brother. Yeah, he's a bit of a nerd, if you will. And he really loves talking about those ships.
It's not a bad thing
That's
to be
why-
passionate about
Birds of
something.
a feather with Kiki. Is that offensive?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Kiki doesn't speak for all Kenkus, but I will say that she personally is not offended by that expression.
So up they go, and she then kind of gestures to the rest of you, like, if you have a moment, I would like to talk to more serious matters, she says, kind of looking back up at her brother, heading towards the sky, who is like, he is just like geeking out with Kiki, and just, he is happy to answer whatever questions Kiki has that are like trade secrets that he is not allowed to answer.
So sweet.
Yeah, but she'll ask the three of you, like, you know.
Don't we go sit in one of the conference rooms and get more comfortable, and then we can discuss what's on your mind?
Wonderful. So she kind of sits, she heads to the conference room, and then Carl comes in with like tea, but he's sort of carrying it above himself because it's a big tray, and it's like, and she doesn't see this, but the tray just kind of like wobbles in, and he just puts it onto the table, and she sort of is looking about how this, she doesn't know if it's magic, the tray just kind of came in by itself. And then she hears Carl, and she's like, oh, he's like, oh, hello. Do you need anything else, Miss Tessa, or?
No, thanks, Carl. I think we're all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you want the bacon snacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm never going to say no to that question.
Yep, I know, but I like to ask to be sure. And he, just, as he's saying this, he's kind of like waddling out. You have a lot of diverse staff here, she says, kind of just like looking between the geckos and Carl.
Yeah, we're quite proud of that fact, actually.
Mm-hmm. So, as my brother said, we are hoping to join the Conclave as other nations have. We haven't had a lot of contact with this part of Ryam since pretty much the Empire's fall. Although once we'd heard our neighbors, the Volcani dwarves, got back in contact with their cousins, we figured it was time to sort of see what was happening in this part of the world again. We've known you've been here, but then there was the war, once the last remnants of the Empire fell, we were more apt to see what was going on.
Well, yeah, you're certainly welcome to join. We do have a few basic rules and principles, but we do have a charter that you can look over, and if you choose to join, you certainly are welcome to.
Okay. And she looks, so she, you show her that, she reads it, and she's like, well, I'm assuming you don't know much about Ethos. I would assume you wouldn't in this part of the world if you were surprised by the small fleet we sent.
I admit I don't know much.
You said that I knew that they existed, but not much about them. Is that right, Scoop?
Yeah, so like everyone has like a rough idea of what happened, because these people are very famous for sky ships, and like magical flight is their jam. But like,
right
at this point, since everything, like there was a period in Ryam's history where everything kind of got cut off from each other, so you're vaguely aware that like, in the same way that like Rome knew China was somewhere over there and had a vague idea through like intermediaries and people that did trade, but like where you are in the world, you don't have like a lot of first-hand sources about Ethos, just like they probably don't have a lot of first-hand sources about Ventos, because you've been separated by quite a distance in the merfolk for a while, but they exist. Like this isn't a huge, like, it's like, oh, there they are. Yeah.
I think my my old teacher at least claimed to have a bottle of Ethosian wine. It was on the shelf. I never really looked at it.
Was it pink?
I don't know what would be funnier, is if it's like real or not. Scoot, you decide if it was pink or not.
It wasn't.
No? More of a blue.
No. Most of our booze is a reddish hue.
Huh. Well, I'm disappointed and yet somehow not surprised that he was shitting us the whole time.
We haven't been out this way in quite some time. Although when the Volcani got back in touch with their cousins more readily, with the flotilla up in the north and Doshnaral and everything happening, we've we want to connect again, like so many others are. And we're very curious about these Minotaurs that have gathered a lot of power in the area.
Oh, Thunderblade.
Yes.
Well, is there anything specific that comes to mind that you want to know?
Yeah, she starts going through kind of basic political stuff about, like, their military, their economics, like, very kind of general probing questions. And then, so you folks chat about that for a little while, as well as the kind of area, what's here. And again, it seems like she has a rough approximation of, like, a world map, but it definitely needs to be filled in and updated, more or less. Like, what she has is probably working off is a couple hundred years old.
I'll jog over to the library and grab, like, the, Ryam World Book series.
Yeah. An atlas, you mean?
I guess. Well, there was like a World Book encyclopedia that was like for kids.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like lots of pictures and stuff. So I'll grab that and bring it over because like there's more thorough encyclopedias, but this is really the best for just like sort of general.
Yeah.
Browsing kind of updates.
Yeah, so she sort of leafs through that, and she gets lost for a little while. And she goes, I'm sorry, my other reason I'm here. So the unions, not all of them are convinced to join the Conclave. Some of us think this is a good first step, although others are curious about your efficacy in actually solving problems without, military intervention or violence. And then when we heard from the Duraheim dwarves about this Project Sheer, we wanted to see what that was all about and if you'd be willing to help with a more minor problem that we're having.
What kind of problem would that be?
And there's a look of exacerbation on her face as like, I'm about to tell you something that's incredibly stupid, but we're going to have to deal with it. So,
that was like my entire last 3 days at work.
Yeah.
Like, you would not believe. Yeah.
We did go on a quest for a dildo, so I mean, shoot.
Her head cocks at that, and I did not mean to make that pun.
Her head what?
It was. I mean, it definitely has a better flow to it than if you claimed that her head vagina did that. Like, that really just, like, it doesn't.
Vagina, yeah.
It doesn't fit in the sentence.
She sort of looks and she's like, okay. She's trying to, like, kind of put that in scale and context, but she goes, well, so there are, in Ethos, again, a number of unions, just people that have gathered together and form kind of the power blocks of the nation. Two of the bigger ones, they clash often, as they tend to do. For a while, it was sort of violence in the streets, but just skirmishes, people beating each other up. But then it sort of calmed down, right? A lot of the rest of the unions decided, basically told them to stop, or we were all going to turn against them and just remove them. So things were peaceful for a while until two of their youngest, of like the heads of the union and the family, decided they would start a whirlwind romance, which ended in a accidental suicide attempt on both their parts, or they didn't mean to do it.
I mean, an accidental suicide?
Yeah, so their families did not want them dating or copulating, so they thought they would prove a point by killing themselves, but they didn't really kill themselves, but they almost did. One tried to poison themselves, but luckily, clerics are great, and got that out of her. Got that out of him. The boy did that before the girl almost stabbed herself in the heart, which is a little bit harder to heal.
I feel like I've heard this before.
Is it stupid teenage love? Because that's what this is.
I mean...
Yeah.
It's... I can kind of understand it, but it's a little extreme. But how can we help with this?
So we need someone outside of the unions to go convince these two to stop being stupid. Here's the problem. Each of these families has tied themselves to a dragon. Luckily a copper and a bronze dragon. So no one really wants to challenge them, and the dragons are very, very fond of these two individuals. They sort of take them as not pets, but certainly favorites. So the families are now back at each other's throats because they obviously blame the other one for their child's mistake in this incident. And we need someone to defuse this that's from outside the unions, because otherwise this will lead to...
You need a mediator.
Yes, we do. Desperately.
Well...
Because our other option is the rest of the unions removing them, which will be difficult.
I think this falls into our territory. This might be something we can help with.
Grand. Please tell me you can come soon.
Would you prefer to bring them here? This is neutral ground, after all.
Oh, the dragons won't let them... The copper and
Really?
the bronze won't let them out of their sight. And as much as charismatic as my brother and I are, you can't out-talk a copper dragon. There is no way to do that.
So what are you and your brother's roles in all of this?
So my brother is the elected representative from the Captain's Union, kind of those that man a lot of the sky ships, both for mercantile and military purposes, defense purposes, and I represent a lot of some of the more ground organizations, the miners, farmers in particular.
So you guys are getting stuck in the middle of this.
Yeah, these two families, again, are sort of blocks of everything. You know, people will join unions and then go from them, sort of the way, like a guilds, to sort of like your guild system. Or even actually, and she's, you know, I've heard peaks kind of work like this. People sort of come and go as they please, or unless they've tied themselves to somebody. But the ties are a little bit tighter and a little bit naughtier at certain points because, forgive me, but from what I've heard about the peaks, you know...
Allie and Nikki turn to each other and wink.
You know, it seems like the peaks are very, you know, pretty agricultural, and you can kind of move a field. It's hard to move a mine or move a business that's been there for, you know, a shop that's been there for 100 years. People get really invested into those. Not that your farmers are not valid for wanting to keep their lands, obviously, but there seems to be more sharing vibe here than in some places home.
A lot of sharing, yeah. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I do need to note that I've been slightly distracted during this entire exposition because Kate has been distracted during this entire exposition because as soon as Scoot mentioned the, you know, two unions alike in dignity, I had to write out the entirety of the Princess Speaks from the opening scene of Romeo and Juliet because we're basically the prince in this one.
Yeah.
Stop being dumb teenagers! You're 14!
Subjects. Enemies to peace.
So, please tell me we can leave soon. You know, I don't know if you have the business to attend to.
Well, I happen to be quite good at, or quite experienced in teenagers making dumb decisions for love-related reasons, so I think I should be able to help at least somewhat there.
I can be pretty persuasive.
Very persuasive. And, Tessa, what's our upcoming business with the temple? Is there anything pressing that we need? Well,
I mean, there's always something pressing, but there's nothing immediate.
As she says that, Carl comes back in with the bacon snacks.
Well, I mean, aside from the bacon.
That's pressing.
That's pressing. Oh, but Zul, you have to try this bacon. It's phenomenal.
I certainly will. And she tries it, and she's like, did the small mammal make these?
Capybara.
Capybara. Wait. Oh.
He's of the rat folk, actually. From over in the Falklands.
Okay. And she nods as if she understands what that means, but like...
Oh, you probably aren't familiar with the Falklands. Well, there's various different cities that have various different animal folk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what are the cities called?
There's Valhalla, Raton Rouge, Ottawa, Mouse Cow.
Narrow at you as if you're fucking with her for a minute. She's like, no.
I point to the map. I'm like, the map?
Yeah, she flips and she's like, no, that's their names. Okay.
It is.
I think we're quite clever. And it's a good thing you didn't cash in that pun certificate, because that would have been very difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's their actual names, so I can't charge you for that one.
But it's based on a pun. Where does the line get drawn? Anyway.
So, she asks you like to agree to, you're gonna go do this. She tells you they have a way to get back home very quickly. You just need to let her and her brother know when you want to do that.
Question: has the Aloran faith spread down there yet?
Not that far.
Okay.
It's definitely
gonna be a Heartway. Okay.
It has gone west quite a ways, but not that other way.
Okay. Just checking. No Heartway access.
Nope. You're gonna go old-fashioned. Well, I'm gonna go other ways.
Like, God, I just have to go on an airship. Okay.
Yep. So you folks, everyone's ready to go. You folks pack. I think it might take you a day or two to get your shit together. Kiki probably does not leave that carrier. I don't think at all. Like, the guy is weird, like, not weirdly to everyone else, but probably not to Kiki. Like, he's keeping pace with you, and, like, although he seems to be a bit older and wiser than Kiki, so he remembers to, like, stop to eat, and, like, doesn't force you to have water, but definitely, like, make sure you stop to do that, and, like, kind of self-care stuff.
I think Kiki will be especially drawn to the elements that keep the airships afloat, like what are their levitation systems, and then obviously in the interest of defending the temple and stuff, if she's allowed to, she'll ask about like basic defenses and things like that. But if we're taking an airship to where we're going, how are we getting where we're going?
They told you they have a method. Though he does show you, Kiki, something that is sort of different. That's something you've ever seen before. He calls it a frac cannon. And okay. More or less what it is, it looks like this long tube that kind of looks like your boomstick. And he said this was a joint venture with the Falcani dwarves that they got from their cousins. And you see him just load crap. Just all these like shrapnel, small pieces in it. And he goes, it's really great for if you're being attacked by winged creatures like Arakoa or a dragon. Because will it hurt their scales and armor? No. Will it rip through membranes of wings? Yes. And can bring them down.
That's
Kiki kind of shifts
for a moment.
Yep.
Yeah, Kiki kind of shifts uncomfortably because like her dream is to have wings again, and so here there's this like, oh yeah, this is great. You can knock flyers right out of the sky. Yep. It's just a little bit like
Tessa is uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, he doesn't quite pick up on that. He's just very excited about like showing this invention to you that has probably it's definitely saved his life many times.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Tessa, if she's not wrapped up her own stuff, will feel the spike from Kiki, where Kiki just feels this conflict because it's a new to her like application of some basic principles, which normally would excite her, but then she's just like, oh yeah, those pesky flyers, yeah. So Kiki will like change the subject or something. And,
yeah. So when you folks are ready to go, you find Lady Zool and the captain, and they ask you if you're ready to go.
Good to
go. And you find, as they take you into part of the carrier, you find this is probably the craziest thing for Nikki. They have a portal here. And you don't see a ritual circle anywhere. It's sort of just freestanding in this. There's like obsidian below it, to the sides of it, and on top of it, like a couple foot by couple foot slab of it. And the portal is just kind of, it's inactive right now, but there's this little bit of arcane orb in the middle, just sort of in a constant, in a flow, just in the middle, moving around itself. So if you would like, you can make an Arcana check. Anyone who would like can make an Arcana check.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean in and start taking a look at this. What the fuck is going on here, eh?
I'm gonna go ahead and ponder this orb, and I crit failed!
Ellie gets a 12, which actually really isn't too bad for Ellie.
No.
I'm too caught up in this orb.
Total.
Yeah.
I can't stop looking at it.
26 for Kiki.
I have to say, since it's that time of year, I've started using my seasonal affective disorder lamp every morning. So I start every morning by pondering the orb.
It's a good start to your day.
Anyway.
Best part of waking up
is pondering
your orb.
I was going to say a palanthir in your cup, but That's okay.
So much better.
Everyone drink the land here.
Good morning, Sauron. Build me an army. No. God.
I mean, it is Sauron in that meme.
Yeah. Yeah, Tessa, like...
Orb pondering, an important part of a nutritious breakfast.
So it seems that Thrax is helping somebody to, like, do some rigging, and he's just kind of pulling a rope, and my God, he looks good. Sure, it's popping up. He's really gotten into the mesh from last time. Like, he's sort of
still wearing the mesh.
He's still wearing it underneath his normal clothing, but as it pops up,
it's like riding up a little bit.
Yeah,
he's wearing like mithril underneath his regular. It's mesh.
I was gonna say, is it like chainmail mesh? But I like the mithril better.
He's really getting into it for some reason. Allie, like, wow, this seems fucking complicated. That portal seems stable as far as Nikki's maybe tried to explain to you.
I feel like it's definitely been the subject of like, like afterwards, like cuddling and pillow talk. Like Nikki will just like, like just ramble on stream of consciousness about like random things she's trying to get off her mind for the day. So Allie has like somewhere along the way picked up a tiny bit of knowledge about magic stuff, but she doesn't retain it very well.
No. The other two, the brains of the group, as you know, that's pretty much what you are. You think this is a portal that they have, like they are sustaining on this ship, and is being sustained by some source of magic up here. But they can open and close it at will while keeping the spell running, which is an interesting thing for you two, because as far as you know, that's not how, like, portals are binary, on, off. So either it's on and open or it's off. This seems locked. Like, right now, if you try to step through, if you try to put your hand into this kind of orb-sized ball, you don't know if anything would happen. Because by your reckoning, your hand should go through and be on the other side. But, like, it's not big enough for you to get through in any sort of easy way.
Kiki's also fascinated by the thought of a portal on a moving ship. And what are the implications for that? And if you're up a certain height, does it correspond to... Like, so she's already, like, got all these questions, and she's probably, like, chatting up Nikki, just pure theory, like, like, how do we think that functions, and... Do they compensate for height, or is the height not a factor for some reason? Yeah.
CC ladies will walk up, and she puts her hands kind of around her chest, and a medallion rises up out of her clothing, shoots a purple beam into the circle, which causes it to spin. It sort of unlocks and unfolds itself into a proper portal that, like, you're used to, that you can now all step through.
Are they coming?
Can I tell anything about, like, this? Have I ever seen a spell like this before?
No,
like,
this is very, like, well, you've seen implements open and close portals as, like, a key to it, but to do this, it's not so much the implement that is the strange thing, it's the fact that it seems like they can activate it and keep it locked. That is the weird thing. Like, that's the thing that's new to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So Lady Zool and the captain tell you that they're going to come with you, like, through the other side, but they're leaving the ships here because, they're Project Shears at this point. It's just that they probably need to expand your dock works because your docks are not going to accommodate this many boats. You're going to need to build some new ones, or at least some temporary things to kind of dock them. And this is they would like you to be there now and not, later.
Urgency.
So do you step through?
Go. Yeah.
Yep.
Going through?
You kidding? Cool, fascinating portal that I've never seen before, going to an unknown location. I don't even hesitate.
And I think we're all kind of distracted by orb memes right now.
Also, this portal offered to us by people we only just met 5 minutes ago. They're like, here, would you like some ships? By the way, can we get you to go through this portal? Sure.
Nothing is wrong with this plan.
Sure.
Vibe check?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they're, hi, I'm a prince
couldn't
from
go wrong at all.
Land, and no. It's basically, yeah.
I'm assuming that I'm assuming Tessa did talk to, like, one of her, like, lieutenants? Somebody who works for the temple about, like, basically, like, being in charge temporarily while she's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a hierarchy, because we leave so frequently that just is kind of standard now.
Yeah, you put Barry in charge.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So you folks walk through, and you come out into one like this sort of big Mage Tower in Ethos. Where you are right now is your backup. It looks like this is a huge valley, as you see ring mountains around you, at least in this part of it, and extends further off, probably to the south, or what you're assuming is south. But the mountains are littered with skydocks. And there are many ships just up and running and moving around and going from place to place.
Wow.
Some of them seem to be like taxiing people like a carriage would across this particular, like, it seems like capital city.
I'm getting a very steampunk vibe.
Yeah. A little bit. It's clean, though. So there's not the smog of the ships. But there's just sort of like, there's like
clean punk
dust. Yeah.
is the vibe.
Basically.
Solar punk?
Solar punk. And they bring, they introduce you to the area, and you see a lot of the people here are the same skin hues as the other two, as the captain and the lady. There's also different types of like Arakoa, kind of more mountain flying creatures. There is, as you head down into the streets, you see there are Volcani dwarves, which you can tell, one, by their appearance. These tend to have a lot more like dreads. There's also a lot of color in the hair. It's dyed, a lot of beads and stuff. But the other trademark of the Volcani are those lava rings that they carry on their person. These big coiling glass things with literal lava spinning in them and bending. But they bring you to what they refer to as the Union Hall, this is where the big, sort of like a big town hall where all the Union reps will meet. And they basically inform you that it is the Millers Union and the Millers Union has the Copper Dragon associated with it. That's the family, the one family. The other union is the Herders Union, which has the other gentleman and the bronze, and they give you some information about them, and you see that two representatives of the families are there, and they are arguing pretty hard. There's a lot of snide jabes going back and forth. They hold you back so you can see what's going on, as there is a very put upon, tired bureaucrat, mediator, just listening to these two that are absolutely going through the same arguments for the 12th time today. And he looks like he's going to throw a fireball at them if he could, but he can't, because, civil servant. And eventually they get into a cycle of just yelling. He slams the table with a small thunder wave that pushes the two of them back, but does not hurt them, and goes, "We're done for today. Go home." And they get up in a huff, and they leave. And he just puts his head in his hands, like I did the other week with the Evanescence thing. And he's just sitting there quietly. His this older gentleman, kind of white beard, flanked by still kind of black colored hair, but this kind of white streak in the middle. And you're not sure if he's gotten that from working on this, or just he's that old. He's in that age range, but he is a human. And he's just kind of putting his head down and just like, ugh.
That meeting sounded less than productive.
He looks up and is surprised by the very massive being that's in front of him.
Hey.
Hello. Can I help you? He looks confused, and then Lady Zil kind of comes out from behind you.
Yeah.
Oh. And he seems happy now. He's like, "Oh, thank gods. Like, are you the folks from the Conclave?"
We are?
By this guy. "Thank you," he says in a very beleaguered, hapless voice.
Well, I guess thank us if we address the issue.
Yeah. I am Mediator I'm happy to give you the information I can, but we appreciate you coming here.
Of course.
How can I help you?
I guess the question is, how can we help you with this situation? We have some information from Lady Zol here, but maybe we need to have some more background.
Yes, okay. It would seem that the gentleman, the young lad, was seeking one of the elder daughters of the other family, and then caught sight of the younger one. Did she tell you about their plot? And there is a...
Yes.
He doesn't do quotes, but there's air quotes around plot.
Where does it stand right now between them?
Both families have sent the individual children, and he really stresses children, to be safeguarded by the dragons. As the family mediates this, they have not been allowed to see each other, as far as we know. But hoping that maybe another perspective could help them to calm down. Someone from outside the unions, so that there's been always, as soon as we start making headway with one, the other claims favoritism or other such things, or dreads things up from the past, and they obviously can't do that with you folks because you've never been here before.
How old are these kids?
Each of them are about, the young lady is 16, the young man is 17? 17.
So very much.
All this trouble because two families can't appreciate young love. Mm-mm. Well,
I was going to go with all this trouble because two teenagers are being idiots, but also that, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like, nobody's behaving like an adult in this situation.
Yes, and the children at least have the excuse of they're not adults yet.
Yes. And they're not harming anybody.
Well, they did attempt to...
Well, I mean, except themselves, but, whatever.
But whatever.
I mean, you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Kiki's just sort of looking around. She's actually just disengaged from this whole talk about, young love and, she's just a little, I'm not saying she's bored, but she's just what? It's this social setting stuff for her is very... It's not that it's new, but just she doesn't get why people are so worked up. She's just it's not logical. She's very
I mean, honestly, me too. Why is this such a big deal?
Kiki might speak up and just be she's young people don't no interests. I mean, things to distract, things to do, to learn. She's can't you keep the kids busy with something?
And the mediator thinks
Youth
about
center,
that,
come on.
He's I don't know. We haven't been able to speak to the children yet.
Well, that's something I'd very much like to do then.
One.
Good. Well, the dragons had something to say about that, about us going, so they might abide you.
Can we arrange some meetings with both of the kids?
Sure, but you'll have to go to the dragon's lairs.
Do we have to? I mean, I'm assuming we have to let them know ahead of time, otherwise they might get upset.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The bronze is true to his nature, and he is she's very protective, very no nonsense, authoritative, and the copper loves to talk. And his eyes go wide and they're very exacerbated when he says that. And for those of you, actually, everyone make me a nature or history check, please.
I'm gonna do history.
That's history, thank you.
21.
21.
21 on a history.
Wow.
30 total.
Nature?
Okay. Kiki.
Yep.
Good rolls all around.
Let's see.
21,
It's taking
30,
a moment.
18, and Kiki gets a
Oof.
29.
29.
Nice. So all of you combined know that, not all dragons are the same, obviously. You've met chromatics that are fine and didn't want to immediately murder you, but these two seem to fall in line with more traditional ideas of the bronze dragon being more no-nonsense, sometimes more militant. And the copper is just being the chattiest dragon in the world. Good-natured, curious, but they love to talk. They love stories, especially when they get old. The hatchlings do not stop talking amongst the coppers. They just, the moment they hatch, they go, and they start, and they don't stop.
Okay, so yeah, this all checks out, basically.
Yeah, but you can go to their lairs. They see people all the time. And if he writes basically a writ for each of them. And this is from the Union Hall, so this will get you in, because it's by the order of us. it's an invitation for you. We can't order them to do anything because they're dragons, but they will at least take you seriously.
Will they? Wait till they met us, and then we'll see if
the mediator doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Why would he think anything?
Through the slap chat, Kiki will ask Nikki basically like if what's your Rakai Sugar Dragon's name again? Sorry, I blanked out. Elzoff. Like, she'll ask, like, would Elzoff's presence, which they might already detect, right, because they're dragons, is that, like, a plus? Like, a proto-dragon is sort of, like, on her side? Or is it a little, like, who the fuck does he think he is coming in our lair? Or just, like...
Yeah, I'm
just
that
like,
it might be a little bit, like, unnecessarily pulling rank. I don't know. Do I have a sense
you kids should get along.
how it would come off?
You don't know. Make a history check, Rob.
Okay.
Because there is one piece of information that might be relevant. Cool. So you remember meeting Lady Guldara, who's a gold dragon from the Council of 10, and she definitely side-eyed you, knowing that you were connected, but you don't know... It wasn't angry or hostile, but it was definitely like a, that's a thing. So you don't... It's not... As far as Nikki would know, it's not necessarily bad.
Wasn't it, like, mostly horny? Or was that someone else?
No.
That's Nikki's lens. The lens through which Nikki sees everything. Nikki
wants to interpret things, and that's how Nikki wants to interpret things.
No, there was someone else who, like, when I brought up the Rakai thing, they were like, oh.
It was not Lady Guldara, I promise.
Okay.
Nikki's
like, someone. I remember that.
No, it was something.
Yeah.
Nikki's like, so you're saying she was turned on, is what you're
She was into it, right? Yeah. Right.
So you get the Ritz, and you head out towards their lairs, kind of at the side of them, in different parts of the mountain, kind of on the same side. Allie, roll a what is the word? Perception check with advantage, please.
That's the bitch.
37.
You hear a fox screaming, doing like their weird yelp noises, but you know that yelp.
Is it my brother?
Yeah, Evan seems to be in a cage, hanging from a building, and he sees you, and he's like frantically trying to get your attention.
What? Is he like? Do I like? What is this building that I'm seeing?
Oh, it's like a pet shop. They're trying.
Evan, what the fuck?
Allie's.
He's in like full fox form.
He's
right?
in full fox form.
I thought he was like strung up for a crime or something.
Can I insight check to see if he's trying to prank Allie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because like a small part of her is like, is this a prank?
Are you this fucking dumb?
Very valid part of her.
31?
No, he's panically yipping.
And Allie is screaming to the building.
Okay. There is a person like, oh, hello, welcome to the pet shop. Well, we call this the Pet Shop Boys.
That fox out there, where'd you get him?
Oh, I found him.
Where?
Eating in a trash can, actually.
It's not surprising. That's not a fox.
Yes, it is. I know it has multiple tails. What's a fox?
Allie's gonna look at him, and say, Tessa, he's not allowed to put me in a cage, and pop into fox form.
I put a very firm hand on that guy's shoulder when Allie turns to a fox. Like,
Allie then turns back into regular form and said, that's my brother.
Look, you're gonna have to buy him.
How much?
Wait, Kiki's like...
Wait a minute. No.
Sentient being? Kiki's like, sentient being? No sell people.
I mean,
like she's really like starting to like You see her reaching in her bag and starting to wind up a bottle. Like, she's really like...
So
she's
from,
like, no,
from
no,
the
some
vibe,
people.
Al, you would say, like, he just doesn't believe you that Eben is a kitsune, basically.
Why doesn't Eben just change back?
You
I mean, I know
don't
he's in a
know.
cage, but he can try.
You have no idea why.
Magic cage.
I asked the shop owner, I was like, do you have a permit to sell exotic animals?
Yeah, he points to the wall where he has a permit to sell exotic animals. And, like, it's all in order. He's got all the documents lined up to be seen, and they are up to date.
If I pay for him and I prove he's a sentient tiefling, will you refund me?
Yeah, we don't sell sentient beings.
Great. Allie's gonna give him whatever he's asking for.
Yeah, you give him 200 gold.
Allie's gonna take the cakes down.
Yep, and you let Eben out, and Eben is just sitting in fox form, and he's just continually screaming at you.
Okay.
Does she understand? Does Allie understand what his Spock speech?
As a fox, you would.
I was gonna pop into fox form to talk to him.
And he's like, fuck. Okay. Look.
Breathe. What the fuck happened?
Kath.
What did Kath do?
We made a bet. Look, he was trying to teach me bard stuff. And, like, you know, he said, I was like, I can, look, we were drunk. And he's like, you can't, like, bullshit, you know, you can't really cast. I'm like, fuck you, I can. He's like, you can't do as a fox. And I'm like, fuck you, I can do what I want. And then I tried to do a teleport, and then it went wrong, and I ended up in a trash can, and now I'm here.
Are you able to turn back?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second. Allie pops back into tiefling form and turns to Nikki. My brother's a dumbass and tried to teleport while in fox form, and now he's stuck in fox form. Can you figure out why he's stuck in fox form?
Kiki will help you do an Arcana check.
Yeah,
if that's
Arcana check. Do you want to go ahead and see what the fuck this is?
Yeah.
She'll give you the help action.
Yeah, you have advantage.
Is
Rob.
that advantage?
Roll with advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I finagle any sort of bullshit extra buff from my Mixed Scalarum stuff?
I'll lower the DC.
Okay, sick.
Because he's
so
playing.
I have been doing a lot of genuinely fucky things with.
Yeah, and you're thinking that he did those things by mistake. So he definitely cocked up the spell, but you got to figure out how he did that.
Okay. H1. That's a nat 20 for a total of 38.
Yeah, that's a crit. So you're sitting here and like you're looking at him, and you're like, oh, hang on, and you touch him with your identifingies, and like maybe this will work, and you realize like, oh, he's locked in this form because he fucked up the spell. That's why he's locked. He'll eventually pop out of it. Like the magic will wear off probably after a day or so, but he's just locked in. Like he will come out. He will be able to regain, but he's stuck for a day, like at least.
I'm gonna.
That's why you shouldn't play with spell work or cast spells you are not proficient in. This is literally what they warned you about in schools. Don't do this.
Yes, which I have now been experimenting with and made a whole ass Paragon class for it.
He is a cleric.
Natural degree of insight and the fact that she knows Nikki fairly well at this point, she's gonna kind of recognize on your face that you've put the thing together. Just how dumb was he? Permanently stuck dumb, or like...
Not permanently. Probably only another day or so. I've made worse mistakes, but not many people have.
We're not talking about your love life.
I've not made many worse mistakes and lived to tell about it. Other people haven't.
Yes.
Selection bias.
Yeah.
Those people didn't make it to say.
No.
Kiki will start just like riffing with ideas for Nikki, like haste spell, like she'll try to be like, is there a way to speed this up? She doesn't really know. Like chronomancy or anything.
Would a restoration spell help?
It might, but it also might just pump more juice into him. Because it's not really a curse. Yeah. He's just like juiced up on transmutation.
So with that, Nikki, if you can pull magic from him, it would probably speed it up. You'd have to pull it from him though.
I've got an idea. So
Does it involve a tummy rock?
I've got Dimension Door.
Oh dear.
And I also have a couple
I have to spell magic.
Mixed Scholarum abilities where I can, if I mix in some, what are my options here? Necromancy. It reduces the range of the spell by pulling energy out of it in exchange for restoring health. This doesn't do damage, so I won't get any health restored, but it should still pull energy out of the spell. So if I do that while he goes through it, do I think that would work?
It would help, but you need to make an Arcana check to see how much you can pull out of him.
Okay.
Could I dispel it? Or part of it?
It would.
Maybe. If you did it at the same time?
Yeah, I would give Rob an advantage on the Arcana check then, because you're helping him to pull magic.
Yeah, we could try that.
Okay.
Wombo
Let me see
combo
if I have
that
anything
shit.
else that might pull more energy. No, halving the range is probably the best that I can do.
Kiki surreptitiously just starts like sliding behind a counter, like she starts backing away, backing away a little bit.
Do bless radius. Do.
Yeah.
Okay. Foxes always land on their feet, right, Allie?
I do.
Get ready to catch him, and I'm gonna.
Allie's gonna pop into fox form real quickly. Tell Eben what's about to happen.
What?
Good idea.
It's just like what? What?
We're gonna pull magic out of you. It's gonna make you come back faster.
How?
All right, Tessa, get ready.
Allie kind of gestures over to Nikki. Fucking magic wizard.
Okay,
That's not comforting.
let's do this.
Should be. She's great.
As soon as he pops up into the air, hit him with the dispel. All right.
All right, I got you.
So
All right.
Roll
So I'm
that.
gonna cast
Allie's gonna pop back into Tiefling and be ready to catch.
Throw the fox.
Dimension Door, and
Use
he's
the
going
fox.
straight up. But I'm gonna burn half of it to restore my health by half the damage that I deal, which is 0.
I'm gonna cast
and
the spell as she does.
I'm gonna time pulling that energy for like the exact I'm gonna try to match the frame that he goes into the door, right?
Make me that Arcana check at advantage, because other people are helping you.
A 35 total.
A fox goes up, a boy comes down. As the
Allie
Yes,
does not catch her brother in
Yes.
Tiefling form. He can just land.
Yeah. Do you catch him, Tessa, or are you gonna let him fall?
I'm too busy high-fiving Nikki, so Eben comically falls.
Very deliberately steps out of the way.
Kiki pops up behind the counter. Knew you could do it.
Had faith the whole time. Just writing notes.
Total faith.
Just-
Allie's gonna go over at the shopkeeper. My refund, please.
yeah, he just gives it back to you like, oh. He's like, his mouth is gaped open, like, and he just hands it back to you because he's like, I didn't know.
Are you familiar with the concept of kitsune?
No.
That explains a lot. We exist.
But we're establishing that, like, I didn't know that was a person, right? Like, we all know that.
I'm gonna insight check him.
Is he
I was
telling
gonna
the
say,
truth?
do we all know that? He seems
Right.
a little.
No, he's absolutely truthful. Like, he had no idea that, like, a kitsune was a thing, or, like, that Eben was a dude. Like, he had genuinely no idea.
Allie's still a bit pissed on her brother's behalf, and in terms of like the idea of being locked in a cage as an animal, like as a kitsune, is like really gets her angry. And Allie does not get angry often, but like she can tell he genuinely, honestly did not know.
And you shouldn't cage foxes or sell them as pets anyway. Period.
I'm gonna.
So
get
Allie, will
really-
say, yes, I do understand that you did not know, and I'm going to make a good faith assumption here that if you had in fact known he was a kitsune, you wouldn't have done this. But I'm also going to suggest that you perhaps know around the world
magic.
about what kitsune are. Use detect magic on the animals that
Yeah.
you find. Things of that nature.
Kiki pats the shop owner like on the arm, like reassuringly. She's like, "There, it's okay. Refund in." And she goes, "Oh," and she takes out her book. Let's see. Now fees for magical restoration, getting you out of legal trouble for selling sentient beings. She starts like, she's mainly joking, but she wants to see if he'll Don't panic.
It's borderline extortion, but okay.
Yeah, he realizes it's like he's getting yelled at by Allie, but he's like, no. He's like he's looking at the numbers you do, and he's like, he probably was okay with like giving you a little extra money to like just have that be done with it, but he sees your numbers, he's like, no, like I can take this to court and win. Like, no.
Kiki just winks at Allie. She wants Allie to know that she was trying to give this guy an extra hard time.
I appreciate
for
Allie
being a.
say that she appreciates the effort.
When he indicates that he could have taken this to court and win, basically, I'm gonna lean in real close, and I can dial the brightness of my eyes a little bit, so I'm gonna turn them all the way up. And I'm still kind of crackling with the energy that I pulled out of because I didn't get any health from it. It's gonna take a little while for like this random energy to dissipate, so I'm still kind of crackly. So like I get closer, and all of his hair just stands on end from the magic, just like spilling off of my arms. You're sure you really did everything that you could have?
He squares up to you and goes, yeah, if I knew, I never would have done that.
You did everything in your power to find out. All the due diligence.
Yes, he says very sternly at you.
Does he check out?
You can make an insight check, Nikki.
Not as good at this. A 13.
Yeah, he seems truthful.
Okay.
What about me? What has he given me as far as vibes go? What's the vibe check?
Yeah, so
vibe
he's
check?
gone from scared to sort of like when Kiki like jokingly tried to extort him for money. He definitely got a little like pissed of like, is this? He started thinking like, is this a con? Like, am I being conned? Because he has funny. No idea, no context. But then when Nikki comes at him, he's getting righteously kind of angry back. I'm like, no, like, had I known, I would not have done this.
How dare you impugn my honor kind of deal?
Not that much, but like, you, by accusing him of like, knowingly or underhandedly selling a sentient being.
I'm not accusing him of knowingly. I'm asking, would it hold up in court? Did he actually do his due diligence? Did he actually, like, can he prove that he really tried to find out that he's doing, like, as an exotic animal owner? Is he casting his detect magics? Is he, you know?
I mean, this could have been a druid,
he's
too.
Not acting negligently.
As far as you know, he said yes. And he seems to mean it.
Okay.
I'm going to turn to him, and I'll point...
I'll be like,
I'm going to point to that license right there,
Mm.
and I'm going to say, I think it would be in your best interest to rip up that exotic animal license and never sell an exotic animal as a pet.
The entirety of his shop is exotic animals. Like, serious. He's like, yeah, no.
Because I have a problem with that.
Yep.
What does he say?
He tells you no. Like, you know, I appreciate, look, I fucked up. I admit that. But I can't give up my livelihood.
Then I'd really suggest you learn about Kitsune and at least have a bit of a better understanding of how
really
we
all this soon.
And
actually.
druids. And druids and animal folk and... Come on, dude. Be better. Just be better.
I love it. This poor sap. He finds a fox. Going through his trash. Is like, oh, easy sell, right? And then now it's like these strangers are grilling.
Yeah. As far as Nikki's concerned, like nothing else to do with this guy.
I
would like start lecturing Ebon about experimenting with
that
magic in
Allie will
general.
fully support.
Yeah, he's just sort of laying on the ground, like looking up.
Allie's gonna help him up. Come on, you're coming with us.
Where are we?
Ethos.
What's an Ethos?
Continent we didn't know about until about a day ago.
Cool. I'm gonna fuck up Kath when I get back, and he just sort of hoists himself up with you.
Kath didn't do this to you.
Yes, he did. He instigated this.
And I'm sorry, who was it that cast the teleport spell while in fox form? Was that also Kath?
He gets very grumpy and just leaves the store.
Allie through the rings will tell Nikki, feel free to lecture him all you want about irresponsible magic use. This is hilarious. I can't wait to tell Lily.
Oh, he's going to get a double dose when Lily hears about this, too.
You know, Allie's already planning the letter she's going to write to Lily about this.
I find it ironic that Nikki's going to lecture Evan about irresponsible magic use, considering, like, when Thrax hears this, he's just sort of looks...
All of her.
Yeah, when Thrax hears all of that and just looks at you, he's like,
do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to come at it from the
He's
tack
smiling
of,
at you like, like, maybe not too much, huh?
I'm coming at it from the tack of, like, look, you would not believe some of the shit that I have survived, and it was really a close run thing. Like, Thrax has single-handedly pulled me out, like, 4 separate occasions. Like,
Thrax is counting them. You folks head off now with Allie's brother in tow, because that's a thing that's happened now. And you head up to a road that diverges up to these 2 dragons' lairs. Do you want to split up and talk to them, or do you want to go as a group to talk to both?
Well, we're not fighting the dragons.
Hopefully.
Which one is going to require more persuasion?
Well, one likes to chat, so I wonder if that means we either send our more eloquent people or we send people who are good listeners.
I think we send our eloquent people to that one because I think they're more likely to respect the value of a good argument, whereas I think the more blunt one is going to be more interested in someone who can be direct and to the point with them.
If we're splitting, because we could communicate through the Slap Chat bracelets.
Which I'm fine with. I think in that case it would probably be Allie and Kiki going to the straightforward, no-nonsense one, and Nikki and Tessa going to the copper.
Dragon best friend at the end of this.
I'm bringing Eben with us. Allie's not letting Eben out of her sight. He's coming with us.
And Drax will come with us.
Yep, so you folks head off to your separate camps. So we will start with the copper. In the copper's lair sits the young lady. And she seems very sort of shaken. And it looks like she's...
But not stirred.
Not stirred. And, you know, in a weird turn from what you've heard, from what the mediator told you, she's talking to the copper, and it's like, this copper's huge. It's an adult bordering on elder status. So it's just wrapped up around her, kind of like you would, like, she looks like a small lapdog in this dragon's, like, compared to its body. And, you know, she's sort of sitting on one of the dragon's legs and chatting with them. You know, she's just kind of pining, and, you know, the copper's like, I know. And there's, like, sort of a low-key therapy session going on. And it seems like the dragon is attempting to deal with a lot of teen angst very patiently, but is definitely using a more, like, kind of roundabout method of... she makes a point, it's a counterpoint, and it's very circular because she's 16, and he's like, they are trying to constantly, like, bring it back. She's going off on a tangent. Can
I interrupt them?
Sure.
I kind of, like, knock on the wall. Like, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I really didn't want to interrupt you, but maybe we could help? I'll just kind of leave it at that.
So the dragon's head turns, and you see the breath weapon slightly begin to come in its mouth, and it goes, oh. Are you? You're the sheep champion.
Yes. My name is Tessa. So I work for Fran and also the goddess of love. So.
No, I heard about you from the Council of 10.
Yes, and this is my good friend Nikki, a very powerful wizard. And yeah.
This dragon takes a deep breath in, then sort of eyes you. Powerful indeed.
Sus.
Do I get the sense that she's just checking, like, magic stuff, or can she smell elves off on me?
You're not sure.
Okay.
And Thrax is like, I'm here too. Come in. Have a seat. And you see there actually is a table that is set up there with, like, some snacks and stuff, and coffee, and it's just hot. It just seems to be consistently steaming.
Nice.
So we've introduced ourselves. Who do we have the pleasure of talking with today?
My name is Op, and this is Delilah. And they point down to the young human girl who sort of just is being polite, but in a trained way. Like, I come from a very public-facing family, and this is what, I have to put my emotions away for a second because there are people now. And she says hello and offers you, snacks, but it's clear that, like, she's a mopey teenager at the moment.
If Nikki doesn't say what I think that she's going to say, then I'm going to be very disappointed in you, Nikki, at the name of the young lady. You've just been introduced to a young lady named Delilah.
You're not going to do this.
Oh, hold on. Hey there.
Hey there, Delilah. I was like, come on. That was such a Rob moment. I was waiting. I was like, surely.
I'm sorry. I've betrayed you.
No worries. Sorry, Tessa. Go
Well, Delilah, it's okay. I mean, I'm, a representative for a goddess of pretty much emotion. So, this is a safe space here. You can feel free to feel however it is you want. Yeah, it's definitely understandable to, based on what you're going through.
So Delilah looks up at Op, and Op nods, and even, like, you feel the wave, Tessa, as just tears. Just boom, come streaming down. And she's just sort of a sobby mess.
I'm going to let her cry it out until she gets to a point where she feels comfortable talking again.
Okay. Meanwhile, over at the Bronze Lair.
That's going to be a minute, so we're just going to pan over there.
Pan over here. You enter, and you see there's actually, like, a number of disciples of this dragon kind of there in training. Very, like, Mulan style, right? Like, very, like, punching things, punching bags, doing military drills. And the dragon is in a more humanoid form, and it looks like the humans around him, but his skin has that same kind of dark tones for a human, but there is this constant, like, almost a bronze sheen to it. Like, the skin glitters a little bit with reflective metallic light, if the light from the windows catches him right. And there appears to be a young man who this dragon is in the form of a male, personally overseeing and making him this guy's just doing push-ups and has seemingly not stopped doing push-ups. They lead you in, and they lead you before the dragon in this humanoid form.
Right, and Allie will bow politely. Say pardon the interruption. I believe it's been mentioned that we were coming from Friendship's Temple.
Yeah, you're the scissor people, right?
Allie absolutely sends a message to Nikki with what just happened and says, well, we're not the scissor people.
Rather good at it.
Sheer, but yes.
Oh, my apologies. I've been busy with this one.
I imagine so.
Yes.
The mediator was hoping that we might be of some assistance, and we wanted to understand what was happening a bit better.
Yes. Come on. And he says that to both you and the young man on the ground who just hits he hits the dirt and just is breathing like, ugh. Come on. And he eventually gets back up, and he is a built young man, and you can see, Allie can definitely see why this young lady was attracted to him, at least in a physical sense. And they head into sort of a trophy room of sorts where there's lots of heads of different types of demons and such, just sort of mounted on the wall and encased in arcane or radiant shielding to make sure they don't, like, seep out into the mountain.
Allie kind of nods approvingly.
So, are you here to talk some sense to him? Because the physical training hasn't done it yet, and the young man takes a breath in and seems very stoic and just at attention, because he very much wants to sass the dragon, but man,
he's figured out that's not a good idea, hasn't he?
That's not a good idea right now.
For what it's worth, it took at least a year before I was making much sense in my own training. I'll be patient with his time. I would like to ask him some questions, just understand him and his paramour a bit better, and perhaps know a bit about why their families are so up in arms about all of this. Again, we're an outside force. We'd like to understand better.
Do you want me to be here?
I'll actually leave that up to the young man.
He looks.
Who I don't believe I've received a name from yet.
Nim.
Pleased to meet you, Nim.
And the dragon sort of looks at him, and the boy's eyes kind of shift from side to side, and he goes, very well. And he gets up. The dragon gets up and continues, and as soon as he leaves the room, the three of you hear him begin to bark orders. And it seems like sort of a call and response, like chant, like when military guys are running and they're doing a song or something. Cadence is happening, and that's sort of covering your conversation.
So, Allie will, kind of introduce the group. I'm Allie. This is my brother Eben. This is our friend Kiki Cleverclaws. So, tell me your secret,
and Kiki's like, and Pinion, and she gives Pinion a little pat on the head. Just to point out, she's wondering if, it'll appeal to him at all, having a robo-pup.
Will jokingly say, tell me your secrets, Nim, and smile, making it clear that it's a joke. Scoot set me up for that, and I'm taking that softball. We don't have any interest or investment in either side of this. Lord knows I made my share of very dumb romance-related mistakes, and the families related there too.
Like what, he says?
Well, at one point, I was dating someone who was an angsty emo nightmare who then got possessed by my uncle and tried to murder me.
Wow. And Evan looks at you like, you were dating Dante? God.
How does Don know that?
You knew that already, you dumbass.
I forget, and I want to forget.
And you and me both.
And the sort of sibling interaction, it does make him crack a smile, because it makes you seem more as human as a half tiefling, half kitsune is going to seem in a metaphorical sense.
Right.
Yeah.
We seem relatable at this point.
Yeah.
Ellie's going to sit down. Look, you can sit. I'm not your dragon instructor.
Yeah, so he does sit down, but again, still very attention.
Were you doing training like this beforehand, or is this new?
No, well, I was, but there's been more of it. I've been holding rocks for a couple of hours.
Oh, that's real fun. Have they had you do that underwater yet?
No, please don't say anything.
Let's see if we can get you out of here before that happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's...
Tell me about how you two met.
There was a party for just all of the youth. I met Delilah there. I was, to be honest, I was seeking one of her older sisters. I saw Delilah. I felt something, and I lost my head. And I know we're not, our families don't like each other. But I just didn't give a shit. And then we did a very stupid thing, and I almost really hurt her. And there is Allie can tell from her innate bullshit insight score that, he genuinely means this, and he's far more worried about the fact that, now that he's, it's been a little while, and he's had a chance, he's been forced to step back by the dragon and think about this. He's like, wow, I could have killed her. This plan could have actually killed her.
Mm-hmm. Right. Sorry, you said you felt something. Felt something, how? What kind of feeling something?
Well, first I just wanted to... And then he remembers, the word bang is going to come out of his mouth. But he stops, because he's like, no.
You felt something with your dick. Got it.
Yeah. But then it was not just that, but that was new. So I didn't really know what to do with it, and it a lot of emotions happened real quick. Yeah.
And the dumb thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it that if that makes you feel better.
Sure.
Why? What drove you guys to that? What made you think that was the right choice? Did it feel like the only choice? Did it feel like the best choice?
So we had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be fake.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go to the apothecary Delilah told me to go to. I went to a cheaper one. And, I fucked up.
There's a reason you don't skimp on your apothecaries.
Yeah.
Rule number 1 of relationships.
Yeah.
Knows that.
I mean, really, the usual mistake that no offense, teenagers make when you go to the cheaper apothecary is that you get a contraception that's much less effective, which is also a problem and also a dumb thing. But this one was unique. You managed something unique, at least. It was just uniquely dumb.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good. It's probably not. Look,
No, really. What do you want out of all of this? Ideal world, what happens after all this?
I stopped doing so many push-ups, he says, kind of like looking at his arms, which will probably help him in the long run, but man, they're about to fall off now. Like, these are punishment push-ups, yeah. I just want to tell Delilah I'm sorry, and then I fucked all this up, and this is my fault, and to have our parents not blame her, punish her. There's this whole fucking story has gone around the city, and I don't want her to suffer this, for this stupid decision we made, and then I fucked up further.
Go ahead, Kiki.
Oh, Kiki's just apology? That only want that?
I mean, I'd like
only
her
apologize?
to not hate me. That would be cool.
And Kiki tilts her head. So, want this to avoid punishment? She's trying to understand.
No.
She's
I don't.
She's trying to look at push. She's trying to look at push and pull, right? Because he's like, I want to stop doing push-ups, which I know he's probably being flippant. But she's trying to understand, what does he actually want, just beyond this?
Does he want to be with
moment?
her? Yeah.
Does he want to be with someone? Does he just want time away from that?
I would like to be, because Kiki breaking it down like that really keys into. He's clearly never broken it down that far before. He's been too caught up in the emotional state and again, probably push-ups from the dragon. He's just I want time for us to work it out and decide what we want to do, and I'll do whatever she wants. If she doesn't, I understand that if she ever wants to see me, that's fine. I just want to work it out. I just want her to not. I want her to not have consequences for my actions. Those are my actions.
Allie finds this admirable. And she will kind of briefly send over to Nikki and Tessa and Thrax, hey, here's the rundown of what we've gotten from him so far.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
I'm assuming we're coming to them now.
Yep. On the other side of things, she finally stops just crying. And she just takes a couple of breaths. She just downs a biscuit and some tea. She's just now evening out. And you can feel her this wave of sadness is dissipated, Tessa.
Then tea has that effect. It tends to make you feel a little bit better. How are you feeling right now?
Sad, lonely, confused, all sorts of things. I feel like I'm locked away, and they're just trying to. I feel like my family just doesn't want to deal with me, and that's why I'm here.
So what happened? We're here to try and figure out what's going on. So I'd like to hear it in your words. What happened?
So she sort of explains the same thing. They met at a party.
Yeah, you can fast forward if you want.
So she goes through that, and she goes that we had this plan. I told him where to get the supplies. Something went wrong. He everything went haywire. I guess he got, real poison got mixed up. Or she like, for what Allie has told you, that's where the conflict is. She doesn't seem to know that he went to a cheaper place. And she's just like, yes, something went wrong, and now we're here, and I don't know how I feel about any of it. I know.
How did you originally feel about him when you guys first met?
He's so hot.
Beyond that.
She's like, beyond?
Yeah, she's like, he's really hot. Like, I thought it'd be fun to be with him for a while.
When you look at him, what do you feel inside?
Yeah. It's like, and it's that face of like, she doesn't want to say I want to bone him, but like that's what you can tell.
Is this somebody you could see spending more time with and getting to know better?
Oh, I mean, for a while, yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna get married.
So, okay, it sounds like you want to explore, but maybe not anything super serious?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the gist I'm getting?
Maybe.
And so let's say something went wrong and he feels really bad about what happened. How would that make you feel?
Like we're on the same page?
Okay. So it sounds like, there needs to be more communication, I think, for everybody involved. Maybe at first you two, with your dragon supervision, just to clear the air. And what is it that you want going forward?
I want to go back home. Like, family has always been very important to us, and I don't want this to affect my family negatively. I know there's been a bit of a scandal in the city. I've heard things from Op. But, like, I want to just have this be... I want this to be in the past.
Okay. I think, based on, what we know, I think this might just be a communication thing that we could clear up, and we can be there for both of you. So maybe I think our next step is to get both of you guys together in the same room. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I just don't know if our parents are going to let that happen.
Parents aren't here right now.
She looks up at Op, and Op kind of looks down at her. And just shrugs. And Op is like, I'm not gold, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we can mediate, so we can, all of us be there to make sure nothing happens. We have fighters and healers, and of course, I don't expect any of that to go wrong, but for the, just for your sake.
Let me show you my flame holy sword.
But no, seriously, I think that, if everybody's agreeable, maybe we start with that as step one and see where we go from there.
Okay. So I'm assuming you send that over to the others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send that back over Slapchat.
Yep. Allie's on board with that plan and passes it along.
So the dragons...
I was going to say we have to check with the other dragons, because I don't know where...
That's what I'm saying. Allie passes it along to see kind of what their thoughts are.
Yeah, so the dragon just sort of goes, it's what the lad wants, what we'll do. I'll deal with the families.
Appreciate that.
Before the meeting, Kiki wants to ask Nim his comfort level with expressing what he wants to her. Like, would it be better for him to like write it down so it's clear? Because there have been a lot of emotions.
Probably a real good idea. Can you... Like, you see him try to, but like he's just starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and Kiki gets the feeling that like he can probably talk it out, but you don't, like, when he's looking at it written there, he's constantly going back and trying to fix something or trying to make it, like, perfect.
So Kiki's going to suggest that he do something very simple, and she's got parchment, of course, right? And that he just writes a few words on parchment paper, and if he's all choked up, he can just show her the large words on parchment paper one by one that says things like,
To me, you are perfect.
I'm sorry for what I did. Next one. It hurts me that you are hurt. I would just like to spend time with you or something. Like just a few, like she's like, because especially Kiki, right? She's even though written word is not a problem for her. Right. She's just like simple. Like, I'm sorry. I care that you're hurt. Here's what I would like moving forward. What do you want? And he can literally read it, or he can. I'm just, for the listeners, I'm being very cute. I'm doing like a Love Actually moment where he could like flip the things to her.
Side note, I hate that scene so much in Love.
Oh my god, so much too.
So much.
Oh my god, so much wrong with it, but the gesture part is cute. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works great here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you guys telling us on the other side about the writing idea so I can pass that along to her as well?
Allie thinks that's a brilliant idea and passes it along.
And I'm gonna tell Doyle, I'm like, honesty is key in this situation. It's just, you have to be honest with yourself, be honest with him, and what you want.
And then Kiki will also, through the Slap chats, just check with people about like some like norms for the like, you know, do we want to do this for like 20 minutes? Like, people can ask for a break at any time. Like, just understandings about like, if it gets too much, we can pause. If it gets way too much, we can stop. Like those, because she gets overwhelmed by social situations and lots of people and stuff, and big feelings are new to her. So she'll just do some of those things and make sure that the dragons know too. Like,
Allie will also tell the young man that they're with, like, it is okay if you guys want different things. You do not need to change what you want because one of you wants something different.
Okay. So he writes some things down, and you eventually have the dragon. The copper comes down into a humanoid version, and they bring them to kind of that one crossing pathway. They come down and they stop short about, like, the dragons stop you folks short about 20 feet from where the roads come together. And at that point, like, the two young ones see each other and they say, you know, go ahead. And they move down there and begin to have a very quiet conversation from where you are. Anyone who would like may make perception checks.
12.
Can I pop into fox form because I get advantage on perception checks related to hearing in fox form?
Sure.
Man, when was the last time we ate? Tessa wonders.
32.
Okay. And as Thrax hears that, he's like, "Babe, just go into your boobs and pull out some cookies."
Oh, right, I have those. And she just reaches and grabs. It's just like watching the scene, watching them talk, and just eating cookies. Like, crumbs are going everywhere.
Unsurprisingly, Allie, you're the one that hears this. You can't quite hear it all as they're speaking very softly, and they are quite a ways away. But it seems like it goes well. He does use the cards a little bit to kind of get himself going. But it seems like they get to a point, and there seems to be a bit of conflict. Like, he says, like, basically, he makes the thing of, like, I want to keep going, and she says, no. Like, we can't do this. Our families are just going to be at each other's throats. And he goes, okay. And he's a little bummed, but he also takes a moment to think about it and goes, yeah, like, it's stupid, but we'll have to deal with it, and, like, maybe in time. And she's like, maybe. But not for now, and, like, we have to, you know, recover from
Don't be
this.
16 about it.
Yeah. And they kind of agree, and they have, like, a quick hug, but a very friendly hug, as they both split back up to head up to the respective dragons, and the dragons sort of just take them in hand, or, like, you know, the copper kind of goes around the young girl and is very supportive of her like a therapist, and the bronze just sort of nods at him and, like, tells him, come on, we got training to do, and they head back up towards the lairs.
I before the dragons go, I do want to run this by the group first, and then ask basically while they're having their discussion, I want to run this by the group, and then if the group agrees, I want to have asked the dragons it. Do we think it would be helpful for one or both of them to be out of the city for a little while this kind of calms down and folks it leaves immediate memory of everyone around? Because I'm sure we could use, an extra hand over at the temple, and I'm sure at least one of them has a useful skill they could intern.
I would say maybe one, but not both, because it seems like they might need some distance from each other.
Yeah. So
we can pose it as an option.
Kind of pose that to the dragons while the two young ones are discussing and see what they think about it.
So the bronze thinks about that. He's the one next to you, and so is the copper. The bronze thinks it might be good for him. He will probably. They both agree that it's a good idea, and they will probably be better off being away from each other for a while. And the families will be very happy with that one of them is left. The boy's family will probably be somewhat peeved that she didn't leave, but he's like, they'll fucking deal with it. But they
be an ambassador for the conclave now.
Right, and that's like
youth ambassador, yeah, man.
Right, and that's what they're like, fine. And the bronze goes, they'll fucking deal with it though. Like it is clear that the copper is very supportive. The bronze is done with this. Like he's become very. Sorry, I believe the bronze. I said the bronze was the lady. She's become very over this.
I'm so over this
fucking nonsense because she's got shit to do.
All this angst.
Yeah, and she's like, this isn't this was a stupid bad thing that happened. We need to move past it. And also they will tell, both of them would tell you that the young lady is very home focused and would probably do much worse right now, out and about. She loves Ethos, loves it, and I don't.
And does the bronze give us any sense of does the young man does he have training in a trade? Does he have training in fighting?
Oh, he tells you he's a sharpshooter.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then he'll definitely get a lot of practice up at the temple, and he'll make a lot of friends there.
He uses a massive bow, bigger than a long bow.
Excellent.
Whoa.
So then, as the two come back to us, Allie will, kind of raise that possibility. Obviously, we still have to talk to our families about it, but if you'd be interested, and the dragons agreed, it might not be a bad idea for you to travel a bit. Mm-hmm. We've got some space at the temple. We've got some folks there who are reasonably skilled with a bow, but might also be interested in working with someone with a slightly different weapon.
Okay. He goes, yeah, I might like that. He says,
okay.
I can't give an answer right now. And he's you barely have his attention.
How do you feel about geckos?
Sure. Who doesn't like them?
How do you feel about, tiny people-sized geckos?
They sound cool.
You could meet them.
Oh. And, it's clear that he probably would be excited about this, but he's just in a haze.
Right now,
he's just
sad.
Just disassociating quietly.
Yeah, well, he's trying to be polite and diplomatic. He's like, "Oh, I'm sure."
Look over and test and say it might be a good time for chocolate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I can do. So I gotta reach in and I'll bring out the chocolate cookies.
That makes him stop, and he's taken aback by this. He's like,
Everybody likes chocolate, right?
Allie will eat a cookie first to show him that it's not as weird as he thinks it is.
He's not worried about that. He's just the situation has him a little befuddled.
Don't worry about it. Magic.
Yeah, and Thrax reaches in and grabs one. Okay, and he takes it and he just kind of walks up to the the bronze just goes, "Come on, you got shit to do," and just kind of giving that out. He just walks back up to the lair.
Guess it's time for us to go convince some families.
So, as you spent a large part of the day with these two trying to fit. We fast forwarded through the conversation. This would have taken a little while. The Union Hall is now meeting with most of its members, and it seems like they have decided that today is the motherfucking day we're dealing with this, as both families are making big, auditory towards what's going on and why they need compensation. And you can see there's a council of these union heads that are just so... A lot of them are so done with this. They're like, this should have been resolved. This is stupid. But probably due to whatever political connections, they can't just say that. So Lady Zool is there, and she looks in, and she's like, like, did you fix this?
We have a compromise of sorts that I think both families will agree to.
Okay. And she walks in and sort of stops the proceedings. Like, she gets the attention to just walk in, but she does get the attention as she takes a staff and slams it on the ground and causes a big whoosh of air, getting everyone's attention. And she introduces all of you and gives one of you the floor to speak about what happened.
Like, I figured Tessa's probably the best, most persuasive.
Let's get that persuasion check out of the way. All right.
Kiki through the Slap chat will be like, mention dragons gave blessing. Like, she's gonna be like, lead.
Yeah, that's key. Number one.
You always lead with the dragons.
All right. Hello, everybody. First of all, we've been to see the dragons, and they have given their blessing for the compromise that we are about to explain. We think, after hearing both sides of the agreement, it would be beneficial to allow Nim to come back to the temple in the Free Peaks and join our new youth ambassador program to hone his skills and travel a little bit. Meanwhile, the young lady Delilah can stay here with her family, and they've both agreed to this as well. Well, no, he hasn't agreed to this yet.
Yes.
Did he say he agreed with it?
They're
if they agree to
in agreement with this plan, but respect the decision of their families or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, like, there's a murmur in this chamber as, again, a lot of the union heads are very like, some like, who the fuck are these people? Like, what the fuck is going on? Some of them are like, all right, that sounds fine. The boys' family is outraged by this a little bit, and they sort of like, they're unsatisfied. They're making a dramatic show of it because they just put so much into like trying to get compensation of the other girl's family. At least one or two of the members are. Some of the other ones are like, because there's supporters and family members behind the ones that are talking.
So I'm gonna like, everyone, please calm down.
And if they try and talk over Tessa, Allie will thaumaturgy her.
I should have started with this, actually. My name is Tessa Benkal. I'm the champion of friendship. I run the Conclave in the Free Peaks. So you may have heard of us, but if not...
Some, like, murmurs of acknowledgement of like, oh, okay. And someone's like, yeah, they said she was huge.
I'm going to choose not to take that as an insult, but okay, moving on. We can provide, an opportunity to learn new skills and to meet with diplomats and just to travel. And this would be great to get information and to learn. So we think this is a good compromise to give them a little space and to clear the air and get things back to normal.
The majority of the crowd around you, the union heads, seem to be for this. Although, and even some members of, like, the boys' family is like, this is a pretty good, like, fucking opportunity. Like, this doesn't seem, like, this seems...
Oh, and the Bronze Dragon wants this to happen, by the way.
And somebody pipes up to be like, how do you? And then both the dragons in their humanoid form stride into the hall. And the bronze goes up to the few remaining, like, holdouts, and kind of very quietly but sternly, like a parent talking to a small child, goes, no. Like, to the one or two holdouts, he's like, stop. This is done. Like, we need to move past this. Everyone's like, I know. Look, this is going to be good for him. This stops this. I know you don't want him to go.
Let them both become a little more mature.
Yeah, like, we need to end this. And the copper is going over to the ones that are sort of smirking, and the other family that like they've won, and it's like, no, we don't do this. This is about them. This is not about this. And they both get a small talking to from the dragons. And eventually they acquiesce to a request and they agree. If the
Means
if
yes.
Nim if Nim wishes to go, they will allow him, and a number of other. Are you willing to take others from Ethos?
Of course.
Then they agree, because they don't want Nim to be by himself, away from his people, like that far
And we hope
away.
this will be a good future partnership with Ethos to join our conclave and so we can all become allies.
Before, like, kind of as those conversations are going on, like off the side, Allie actually wants to talk to Lady Zool real quick.
She's there as Tessa's doing her auditory.
Yeah. There's no way for me to ask this question in a way that doesn't come across rudely. Are you familiar with the concept of Kitsune?
No.
I thought not. I am not angry with you or with your people, but at one point you'd accidentally imprisoned my brother while in a fox form. That's him, the dumb one with the beard over there.
He waves.
Yep.
He's too far
like,
to
"Hey,
know what's
that's me."
going on. He's like, hi. He's like, hello.
I think it would be a good opportunity if Nim is coming to learn from us, if we might be able to pass along some knowledge to you at large as well about what Kitsune are, and the fact that we are on pretty much every goddamn continent, and I'm almost certain that there's at least a few among, even if you don't know about it.
She thinks about that as sort of the ramifications of, like, she doesn't disagree with you with the idea of, like, there are things hiding in the city. That makes her a little nervous because she doesn't have the context, but she's like, all right, fair enough. Okay.
I'm assuming
to learn.
you and your brother are coming back with us, at least for the travel back.
We will be. We'll set some things up,
Yep.
and I'll be... The carrier will stay there until we can get this new youth corps, which is a new thing, sent over to you, so we have an easier means of travel. We need to get them prepared and select some people. Of course, one is smattering. Some Volcani, maybe. And she's kind of thinking about that in her head, but for now, I think this is what we've... what we wanted from you folks, and we thank you very much for helping us solve this. And you can see that her brother is now coming over, and he is all swagger and smiles, and she rolls her eyes at him. And he has this very, like, shitting grin in his face, like, I told you this was a good idea. Yes, so please, enjoy Ethos, the capital for a day or two, as we will be able to get you back as soon as or if you'd like to leave sooner, we can leave you as soon as you are ready. We can transport you back as soon as you are ready.
Were those slip-ups Scoot slip-ups or her Freudian slip-ups?
Those are me.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Allie is kind of going to take a poll of the group, like, do we want to get back sooner, or do we want to explore the city a little bit? Allie's preference is actually to get back a little bit sooner. It's not that she doesn't have the best first impression of Ethos, actually. Because her first impression is they don't know that kid exists, and they stuck her brother in a cage.
It might be best to get Eben back to the Feywilds ASAP.
That I would like to do, yes.
If only for his own sanity.
Yeah.
Kiki actually suggests possibly staying for a day or two just to shore up things, because it's like, boom, we popped in, solved this thing, and went back, just to smooth things out. But she doesn't feel that strongly about it. That's just her
Some of us can
suggestion.
stay behind for an extra day. I don't mind staying behind and, shoring up the details if Allie and
Yeah.
Eben want to get back.
Why don't you guys do that, and I'll take Evan back to the Feywilds.
And then, I don't know, Nikki, what your vote is, or whether you want to get things prepped on the other side for visitors, or it's up to you as well.
No, I think there's not too much prep that needs to get done. Like, drop off Eben.
Okay.
I think we're good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll hang here with us?
Yeah, I think you guys are staying, and it's
Yeah.
just Allie and Evan that
Okay.
are heading
Yep.
to the Feywilds.
Ellie and Evan
Okay.
head back.
We can schmooze.
Yeah, you spend about
Yeah.
2 or so days.
I'll get my diplomat on.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it, like Tessa is, but
You folks spend about 2 or so days here in this city in Ethos, and, like, they show you around, and they do not shy away from, like, they give you a sense of their history, and some of it's been good, Some of it's been not so good. You know, this is certainly not a perfect place, but they do try as much as they can in a day or two to give you like a cultural idea. The biggest, you know, there's a lot of they're most known for this sort of skyship stuff. So they show you there. They don't take you into the military operations because security, they're not letting you in there. But like they do take you to the more mercantile stuff and show you like the local food. They will let you kind of poke around with a skyship that's like under maintenance and is like a run of the mill. Like they have an average car up on a rack, Kiki, and they'll let you poke around in it. Not to like, you know, under supervision so you don't break something that you don't know, like in an excitement may not know about.
You mean like when she tries to like tap into the engine magically into the anti-gravity suspension system to see how high up it might actually go if you juice it up?
Yeah. They'll stop you from putting two warp drives together. Like, no. Like, we don't do that. But you know, after this time, you folks again see like it is more. They're a more complex culture than this kind of first taste you might have had. Eventually, you do make your way back to the peaks. The variety of folks from around Ethos come, as well as some younger quote-unquote Volcani dwarves, young by their standards, older than all of you, because dwarves...
Oh, like, we all would have seen Volcani dwarves before, because there are plenty of them that reside in Amir.
Right, but more come from the continent, because they have their Ethos is very closely tied currently with the Volcani. That's where some of the crystals they use to power their ships are a joint venture between the Volcani and themselves. And a couple months pass, and it's pretty quiet. Stuff gets done. The new core of folks get settled in. You send a few of them out to some of the more major points of interest, including like Thunderblade, Ventos, Ibaracum, with an escort, especially for Ventos, Nikki, because like they're gonna get grifted there. Like they're sort of young.
Yeah.
Some of them are a bit more.
Yeah. Do that carefully.
Yeah, some of them can probably handle themselves, but like they're strangers in a strange place. So like you probably go with them initially. Just are they going to get all their money stolen? No. Are they going to get caught up in a game of cards? Maybe. Like
Are they absolutely going to get scammed at the shell game? Heck yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Constantly, like 3 streets in a row. Like, oh, but surely this guy isn't going to scam us.
Yeah. Mostly because they're very young and they don't know. But
yeah.
As it happens with the calendar, solstice comes.
I want to add really quick. I have a research project with Sylvia about some of the like magic stuff from back in her time that I'm exploiting for Paragon class development reasons.
Fair enough. So you folks will have some time to like work on those levels and kind of do that training up. But solstice comes, and you are in the tradition of Scoot Games decide to do a secret solstice. So who would like to go first? Because everyone was pre-assigned these things at random, and no one knows who they have or who their solstice person is.
I'm really excited. Oh,
is it?
You can go first.
Just to check, do you want us to just do the person we have our secret solstice for, or is it okay that we give presents to other people as well? Because I had some things that I wanted to give that are within the common items.
Yeah, same here.
So just denote who your assigned secret person is, because that's the person that's going to go next, and then let's run through that, and then if you have extra presents, we can give them out at the end.
Okay,
extra presents at the end, got it. So Allie will go first, because she's very excited. One of Allie's languages is gift giving. It's not so much the gift receiving part, it's the giving of the gifts that she's excited about, because she's like, I know I have the right thing. So Allie will turn to Thrax and say, so Nikki and I were working on a thing. It took a couple tries, and at least 2 of the explosions you heard last month were us and not Kiki, but we finally got it working consistently, and I think you're really going to like them. Allie hands him a box. Inside the box are a pair of fairly plain-looking black gloves. They're fitted, comfortable. Allie suggests that he put them on.
He puts them on.
Allie will pick up a rock, say catch, and chuck it at him.
He catches it, or he goes to catch it.
So he has been given gloves of missile snaring. When a ranged weapon attack hits you while you're wearing them, you can use a reaction to reduce the damage by 1d10 plus your dex modifier, provided that you have a free hand. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can catch the missile if it is small enough for you to hold in that hand. So Allie probably spent a while infusing her ability to catch things into a pair of gloves, courtesy of Nikki's help.
Thank you, he says as he sort of like looks at them and is very pleased with them. He goes, okay. He looks to Tessa and goes, I had you. I got some help with this though, but I think you'll like it. And you see him pull out this bracelet made of like shiny star, almost looking like astral diamonds. And he hands it to you.
Well, this is really pretty.
Well, it's pretty, but it's also functional. So
Put it down shiny.
Yeah, say Orion.
Orion.
So in Tessa's hands comes a spear. It feels very light in your hand, but if you bap it on the ground, it's hard. And he says, okay. And it's because it's hard because it's like, it's solid, but it's made from that kind of same vapory coalescence that Thrax's mom is made out of. So there is like the sphere inside this spear is like constellation stars that kind of make up the island, as if he has this sort of constellation you can hold. Says, okay. Yeah, just chuck it over there.
She makes sure there's nobody standing around first. It just kind of like yeets it.
Yeah.
Really hard.
So you throw it very hard, like
into a test dummy.
Into a test dummy, and then you feel sort of tethered to it. And he says, okay, think about going to the spear.
Okay, I'm thinking about going to the spear.
You teleport to the spear.
Whoa. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just writing things down. Well, thank you so much. I love this. This is really thoughtful.
Mm-hmm. I figured it'll look nice, and this way you can get up in people's faces, but also hurt them in the same throw.
So thoughtful.
Yes.
It's like he knows you.
Yes, my love of hurting people. Okay, so I guess I will go next. So Tessa turns to Kiki and hands her a little pouch and says, "Happy Solstice, Kiki."
Ooh, thank you. Kiki opens the little pouch.
So inside, it's 3 things. The first thing is a screwdriver. The second thing is a wrench, and the third thing is a hammer, but they're all special. And at the top, it says Tinkerer's Top-Notch Toolkit. And Tessa will kind of explain what each one does for the audience, but I'm going to post it in chat so you have the stats for this. So the first thing, the screwdriver, so it's a very ornate screwdriver that contains every single possible head that you would need and every size for tinkering, so you can easily switch them out. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of screwdrivers. So that's the first thing. It's going to get like progressively cooler. Uh-huh. The wrench is a special wrench that will allow all bombs and weapons made using this wrench get an additional 1d8 force damage added on. And the third thing is a hammer, which functions as a regular hammer, but it also has the ability for Kiki to cast the following spell called Spectral Hammer, which creates a translucent disembodied hammer up to 120 feet away. And with a bonus action every round, you can target somebody for it to do radiant and force damage.
Ooh.
I have a picture of it if I can.
Kiki, you had Kiki at tools. like she was just excited to get like a screwdriver, a wrench. No, seriously. But she's just like, her eyes are wide open, her beak is wide open, and she just gives you like the biggest hug and just thank you. We just keep saying that like over and over
worth
again.
it to get the hug. That's all I wanted was the hug.
Oh my goodness, she is beyond thrilled. She's like, thank you. And then she realizes she has a gift to to give as well, and she kind of gets out of her little reverie. So she turns over to Nikki, and
That's me.
that is you, and she gives Nikki a pair of glasses.
Ooh. I kind of look them over.
So there's a little magical inscription on it.
Okay.
And it goes SSSSAAAFFFEEEETTTTYYY safety specs. You could read if you want to. You can leave no tome behind. As long as you use it, never gonna lose it. Everything will work out right. So, appearing as an ordinary set of sensible yet stylish eyewear, these magical spectacles give the wearer advantage on saving throws related to reading book scrolls or other written or inscribed languages and symbols.
Oh my god!
In addition, if the text triggers the activation of a curse, the safety specs will automatically cast the 3rd level abjuration spell, Remove Curse, in response. Remove Curse has to be cast upon them again afterwards for the feature to be used again.
Okay, it's got like an automatically discharging Remove Curse stored in it.
But then you need to like fuel it again.
You have
like,
to actually cast it or like refill it. Like yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But like, so Kiki's all about like, well, knowledge is good, and Nikki likes books,
and getting
so
possessed is bad.
So I know there are other traps.
How do I let my friend read without her getting possessed by something again? Well,
she knows that curses aren't the only ways that tomes can fuck you up, but this is what she worked out.
Sure, one of them. No, that's awesome. Okay. Well, wearing her cool new spectacles, Nikki turns, of course, to Allie and proudly presents a 4-inch long length of what it looks like a rather nice, and Allie recognizes this instantly, shibari rope.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of pick it up. You're like, well, this is really nice rope, but I'm not sure what exactly you expect me to tie up with 4 inches of it. And as you're kind of turning it over, you notice that both ends are like shiny almost. It's kind of like an unnatural like cut off at the end of the rope. So I show you. Okay, here. This end that has the little black dot on it, grab it like this and twist right.
Allie twists it. Pop it.
And nothing like really seems to happen. Okay, now let go.
Allie, let's go.
And it's just floating there in the air. Okay, so the end with the black dot is basically an immovable rod. So start with that.
Okay.
Now the other end, twist it.
Point, but can't drill into the ceiling.
Ultimately, when Allie would like to do weird random bullshit flipping all over the battlefield.
Oh,
and
there's more that'll let you do that. So Allie reaches over to the other end, Nikki like points Allie to the other end. Turn this side. You kind of slide your fingers like this, and I show you. It's clearly a somatic component of some sort. And you feel you slide your fingers sort of like down towards the end of it, and your fingers just keep going, and it's just extending out while the other end is like hardpoint locked in space. So don't pull it past at like 150, 200 feet. It starts to get a little bit unstable. I wouldn't really go past that. Maybe 250 if you're really feeling risky. But like have a cleric on hand maybe.
If I switch my grip, does it keep pulling? Do I have to do the somatic component? So like if I've drawn it out to like 100 and I want to just grip the end of it, will it keep pulling if I just grip the end of it normally as opposed to...
No, now it's just a 100-foot long rope.
Sweet.
So max safe length of 200, and what happens past that is up to Scoot.
This is brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
Now the last thing.
Oh boy.
It's long, right? Take this end and flick it, just like this.
Clearly another somatic component, and Allie flicks it.
And while you're holding the end, you do the flick, and there's a little zzz, and just like a
measuring tape.
When you were a kid, you ever take a measuring tape and like put it down the whole hallway? Yep. Yeah, it does that. Back to your hand. So you can do that from either end with that motion, and it'll slurp itself back down.
Excellent. Allie tucks that into her little pocket. That is perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the exchange. Now, what are these extra things that you folks have come up with?
So Allie does have presents for other people. She turns to Kiki first and hands you a very small little pouch. I'm assuming you open. You're muted.
Yes, she's learned recently that great things come in little pouches since Tessa gave her one too. So yeah, she opens it.
You notice that there are like small like jelly-like beads inside, which Allie explains to you are beads of nourishment. Each one provides as much nourishment as one day of rations, and Allie tells you, so the next time you don't feel like taking a break to eat, at least you'll have gotten enough in your system to get through the next day.
Kiki says, thank you.
Allie turns to Tessa next, and says, I'm not forgetting my cousin on this. And she hands you also a pouch.
And Tessa opens it.
Reach inside and pick a seasoning. Say it out loud.
Oh, she reaches in and she says, nutmeg.
You draw out a pinch of nutmeg. It smells particularly potent. That's because this is Heward's Handy Spice Pouch.
That is awesome.
Which contains 10 charges. When holding the pouch, you can use an action to expend one of the charges, speak the name of any non-magical food seasoning, and remove a pinch of it. The pinch is enough to season a single meal. The pouch regains 1d6 plus 4 expended charges daily at dawn.
That's awesome.
Allie does have other presents for Kim and Brenda, but they're not here right now. So the last present goes to Nikki, and Allie looks particularly proud of this. It is a small box. If you open it up, there is the start of a book inside. It's like a journal, but there's some writing on the first couple of pages. I'm assuming you open it because it's a book and it's you.
Obviously.
So Allie explains that, so I couldn't get all the spells from it because some of them you can only do if you're a Lauren and some of them you can only do if you're like a cleric. But Aunt Neri said these 3 spells at least were probably safe to copy down out of the Sexnomicon. So you have now learned the spells. Let's see, the 3 you've got are Remove Clothes, discards all clothes instantly and self-folds them.
Okay.
Love Nest. The spell creates a large but cozy tent or yurt made from sturdy and colorful material. The interior is extremely comfortable, filled with pillows, veils, incense, and candles. There can be wood and, a stove and a fireplace if you want. It provides the same physical protection from the elements as a normal tent, and everyone inside the Love Nest gains a +5 bonus on will saves against any scrying attempts.
Okay. Love it.
And the last spell in there is probably my favorite spell that Dev has written down in here because I find it the most hilarious. You've also gained the ability to cast Power Word Orgasm.
You ain't never heard jack off instructions like this, baby.
Is the range touch, out of curiosity?
Can also be used on
You
self.
don't have to be touching somebody.
Oh my god, that's so good.
The wonderful thing is these are canonical spells in my world because Deb creates a lot for the world, so these are all real.
Kate and I were scheming earlier, actually, so I gave her access to my spell book, which I actually hope to make a physical version of this. So I've been writing down all the spells that I want to put in there. And I actually added like 20 more today because there's a couple websites that have like some really cool spells. But I have to kind of like censor them or tone them down because some of them are just creepy,
Yeah.
I think it can get weird and, non-consensual. And I'm like, I want this to be pure and good.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have other things, Tessa?
I did. So make my list. So for Allie, she hands Allie, it looks like a pretty flat, like square box.
Okay.
And you open it up, and it is a set of over 100 high-end colored markers with bright and vibrant colors that are enchanted to blend extra well and never dry out, even if the cap is left off.
Oh, these are wonderful! I will use these very much while we're traveling.
If you've ever used Prisma markers, that was kind of like the idea I based those off of, because
Yes.
I have an entire box of them, but like half of them are like 10 years old, so they still work.
Yep. They are magical.
So for Nikki, she hands another, almost a similar sized package. A little more rectangular. So inside, it's a very, it's its ornate cover, and it's a spell organizer notebook with little pouches for reagents, and it has a little stick that pops out with a little light. So it's like one of those little night reading lights.
Yes. Love it. That's so good.
Because I think Tessa knows that you like to stay up late at night. Sometimes just, like turn the lights off just because.
Uh-huh.
So it's good to have a little light so you can read.
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
Finally for Thrax, she turns in, and this one's actually a rather large gift. It's like, like 3 feet.
Okay.
Right out.
Open it as instructed.
So inside is a really ornately carved wooden guitar that I will put a picture of in the chat. And it's carved with like a lot of nature scenes and animals, and it's just really cool looking. And this is what I call the guitar of good vibes. So when he plays a song, it procs the good vibes and places all listeners in a good mood for 1d8 hours with advantage on charisma saving throws.
Nice.
Ooh.
Can you put those stats in the chat so I can add them to a sheet?
Yep, I can do that. I'll put that in the... I posted that in the wrong... I meant to post that in memes, but that's fine. It's okay there.
All right. And you folks have yourselves a merry little solstice. This time not in the crossroads and with a different friend, as you spend the night kind of bouncing between the temple and Nikki's estate with this a very different place you were the last, a solstice or two ago. With a whole new...
Just together.
Yeah, a whole new cast of people. But finally, as kind of the day rolls on, the geckos come to all of you when you're assembled. And they are carrying this massive platter of what they're referring to as baked goods. And they have... Phil has been experimenting with this, and he has definitely made edible things. You're not quite sure what they are. It's sort of like, it's the equivalent of like they tried to make fried eggs, but then they scrambled them. So there's all sorts of like, it's this huge pile of bread with like sugar and stuff, and there's like donuts. They did their best, but it's a huge platter of baked things.
It's adorable, and we love them.
That'll do us for tonight in Ryam, folks. Thank you for staying with us, and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.